Hi everyone, it's April with Hair 101 and I am back to show you guys what we are going to do on my cute sister. That's right. She's my older sister. But guess what? You wouldn't even know that she's a grandma because she still looks so young. But she has some gray hair and you can tell that I haven't had a salon for the last 8 months because that's the last time we colored it. Yeah. Oh, so you guys get to see all this fun stuff. Because she has all of this faded color sadness happening here, we need to deepen some of these like low lights back in here, cover the gray on top, give her a little bit of depth in here, and then use some of these previous highlights and maybe just enhance them a teeny bit more. I have mixed up the 4 NW in the color gels with a 10 volume for her ends to add just a little bit of depth. And then I did a 3 NW with 20 volume for her roots so that we get all that gray covered. And I also did the different tone, like the different levels, the 3 on her roots and the 4 on her ends, because I want to make sure that it is that kind of natural look, like when you've been playing in the sun, that it just kind of melts from darker to lighter. So I don't really want to have the really dark down in here. So I kind of think it should naturally kind of gradually go down anyway. So that's why I mix like that. And then if I need to pull out even a little bit more highlights through here, I'm going to be using the Blonde Icing 20 volume with just the icing lightener. And that's what we're going to do just on a few of her ends just to pop out a little bit more. Okay, so now that we have the 4 sections, I am going to go ahead with the darker color. And I have 2 different paintbrushes down here. One of them's black and the other one's gray. So when I was mixing, because they're so close in color, I remembered that the 3, which is darker, has the black, and the 4, which is a little bit lighter, has the gray. So that's how I'm going to remember which bowl has what, because that's always frustrating to mix up a couple colors and then be like, crap, which one is which? And yes, I have had to remix before because I really could not remember. It was really frustrating because they were so close. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go in here and paint this on to her regrowth. She's got some bangs here. And I'm going to just outline each section around the perimeter of each section. And she's like a little bit less, she's like 25% gray at the most. So it's not a ton, but we do want to cover it. And I'm not, since she has like 4 or 5 inches here, I'm just kind of doing the first 2. And then I'm going to kind of hand paint the rest of the spots. Like if I see some gray, I'll kind of pull it down a little bit on that piece. But for now, I'm just going to do all 4 of the outlines on the perimeters just to get started. I think this kind of helps keep them parted too, just doing the parts and the outlines. And around the face and in the part line obviously is where we want to hide the gray the most anyway. So we're going to let that marinate and cook, or process, however you want to say it. Process the longest so that it definitely covers up those spots, because nobody wants to put a ponytail in their hair and realize, oh, my grays are still there. So I always want to start in the front, do the part line and the perimeter. All right, now that we've gotten all of the sections started out, I'm going to just take 1/4 inch partings and go through and just get it on both sides of the hair. And like I said, if I see some gray pieces, I'm going to pull it down a little bit more on those. But focusing just kind of on the first couple inches of her hair. So every once in a while, I'm even going to kind of weave out where I see the grays on her, because I want to make sure I get those with this darker 20 volume to cover. and then fold those over and not worry about the other section that didn't really have any in them. Just do the first 2 inches on that. Does that make sense? I'm kind of just doing the first 2 inches everywhere, and then if I see chunks of gray, I'm doing a really thick, like slice, skip, slice technique, where I'm just kind of taking chunks out that this dark will come down a little bit further on. And I really like the consistency of these color gels because they smooth through the hair so easy. They're a little bit hard if they start dripping because they can get a little drippy because they're thinner, but I love how it like just softly goes through the hair. You don't have to really worry about it being dry like some other colors. This is also such a really shiny color. It's so, like it just gives so much shine to the hair. It's another reason why I really like it. And then once I get this last section up, I usually just kind of clean off the ear and around the face a little bit. It's pretty easy to clean off with just a spray bottle and a towel. As long as it hasn't oxidated completely yet, it usually comes right off. So just be aware. And you can avoid, and you can put a barrier cream on before you start, but even with the barrier cream on, I'll still kind of go through and wipe it just because you don't want it sitting there. Okay, let's go to the next section. See, now that you've already done all of your perimeter and sections, it's like you just jump in on the next one, so it's a lot easier because you don't have to go back through and do the outside end part. So it moves a little bit quicker from then on. It does take a little bit more time at the beginning, but I think it's worth it. And it helps the sections to stay nice, see? Because the hair just kind of gets like wet and sticky, so it stays. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay some foil on top of her head right here so that I can have something to flip up and clip the hair to. Then I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna take like a 2-inch section. I'm just going to lightly pin the hair up so that it doesn't get any lines of color in it. So down here, I'm going to look in this little section and I want to kind of keep the middle of this section darker. So I'm going to take what I've mixed over here, the 4 Natural Warm NW, and I'm just going to kind of paint it in. And if you want, you can use the Redken board, and this just kind of helps it to where you can just kind of paint. So I want there to be a little bit even lighter on the ends. I want it to be from like this 3 to a 4 to back to where it's naturally just faded. And then on these ends, I can mix up the lightener. This is the blonde icing and the 20 volume. I don't need a ton of lift. I'm gonna be glazing it, so I'm just kind of, I'm using this brush, the little spatula. And the blonde icing, it's kind of like chunky, so you have to mix it for quite a while and kind of whip it up like you're mixing powdered sugar and cream or something. Makes me want to eat it. It doesn't really smell like a harsh bleach. I think this is pretty mild as far as their bleaches go. It doesn't do a ton of lift. It's just kind of like icing on the cake, little highlights. So that's why I'm using it. I don't really want platinum highlights on her hair. I want it to be like a nice, warm, natural look. So now that I have that foil underneath there, I'm just going to use the board again to kind of give me something hard to paint on. And I'm going to go through here and just use this brush and just lightly brush on the icing onto the 2 end parts. So it's just kind of painting it where you want it and having fun and being creative with the pattern. I'm leaving kind of a dark chunk in the middle and doing the two sides like that. And I'm going to drop down another couple inch section. You can work through this pretty quickly, really. An inch, probably an inch section. It depends on how thick their hair is, really. So I'm going to go in with the 4. Just warm this up and deepen the color just a little bit. And then with the blonde icing going back in. And you can overlap it just a little bit onto the color. It's okay if it overlaps. You can see it kind of turning colors a little bit. That's all right. It will kind of eat through the color and go a little bit darker, but it'll work. There we go. I don't have to worry about that as much. So on this one, I'm just going to do the right side in the dark, all the way down, and just kind of feather it down. So I'm going to just pull this piece out and just keep this other side that I kept dry, and just kind of paint the blonde icing on there. And like I said, I'm going to kind of go up into the color on this piece. And then saturate the ends pretty well. So I'm kind of alternating on the pattern here a little bit. I'm doing the dark on the right, then the dark on the left. Now I'm doing the dark on the right again. And I don't really want to put that bleachy spot on this darker part, so I'm just going to let that drop because it's done. And then right here, we can put the light on again. Put that down. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing. I'm just putting highlights where I think they'd be pretty, trying to stay around her face a little bit. So naturally, see how I'm putting lightener up where I already have color? That's naturally going to lighten it just a little bit, but still it'll be darker than what, like down here where it doesn't have anything but the lightener. So it'll be kind of with the whole theme of what we're doing, where it's darker at the roots, lighter at the bottoms, that playing in the sun all summer long look that little girls just get, and we have to spend all this time and money for. It's just not fair, but that's what we're going for. So once I got up here right where the roll of the head is, I want to add a few little highlights up closer to her scalp and just kind of gently paint them on. And yes, I'm just going right over the color that we put in there. This is dripping a little bit. Kind of different lengths. It was really difficult with that little spatula to get this consistency on there, so I'm gonna try the little brush, and I think that I like it better with the brush because it's kind of thick not kind of thick, it's thick. So I wish that I was using the brush the whole time, but I do like my little spatulas, but with this specific color line, the icing, it's a lot easier to apply with a brush. You can see there, that's much better. Okay, so I'm gonna let this process for like 30 minutes and then I'll check the blondes and see. We don't need too much lightening, so it should be good in 30 minutes, and then we're gonna do a glaze over all of it. So she's just gonna process at room temperature. Okay, come over here. All right, she is done processing. I'm just gonna push the chair back here. Oh, are you in? Yep. Okay, good. I'm gonna rinse this out, and then I'm gonna just blast dry it really quick. I'm not gonna use a round brush or anything, just get it as dry as we can really quick. And then I'm gonna put the 7NB in the shade EQ. And I mixed a little bit of 9N in there to lighten it a little bit, but that's what we're gonna gloss over all of her hair. So I just blew dry it really quick. I didn't use the round brush, as you can see. It's kind of crazy still. But you can see here, we have these pretty natural highlights that come through now and a little bit more depth in here. So I'm gonna go through with the 7. There's more depth down in here too. Kind of pulled it back in. I mixed a little bit of 6N with I did like 2 ounces of the chestnut, the 7NB, and like a half of an ounce of the 6N. So it's very full. And then the other same parts in the solution, the processing solution. And then shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. There we go. And then we're just gonna, here, let me get all of your hair in here. There we go. I'm just gonna squirt it all over the place and work it in. I love Shades EQ, you guys. It's like, it's true what they say. They say it's a color that thinks it's a conditioner. Every time I use this, the hair is so shiny and soft afterwards. Oh, I love toning with it, glossing with it. This is a gloss technique because I'm just getting it everywhere. And I mixed up plenty of color so I could squish it in. And I'm just kind of pushing the nozzle into the head and just squishing out product so it's nice and through the hair. I leaned her back in the bowl just because I think it's faster to apply this all over than it would be to like, and this stuff's kind of messy. It's so runny. So I like having it in the bowl so it can kind of drip and I can sop it up with the bowl there if it does drip on the bowl. And then once I get it all out, sometimes I'll lift them up and kind of comb it through the hair if I need a little bit more, or just mix more. And I always open these bottles at the very end and just stick my finger in there because there's a lot of product that gets left in there. And I hate that, and I want all of it, so. And then I even just dump it upside down on the edge of my dirty sink. There we go. Okay, so a nice little trick that I've learned also is to use the back of a comb, and you just kind of see how much product's coming out. We don't really need this on her roots as much because, hey, it's for her highlights and ends anyway. And so this will kind of just distribute the hair color that's already on there down through the hair. So you can squish it in. And it's a pretty thin color. It should distribute through it pretty easily. And it needs to process for 20 minutes at room temperature. So I'm just starting at the ends and gently combing the hair out. It'll get rid of any tangles and just help distribute that toner, color gloss, whatever you want to color. I guess it's a color gloss. It'll distribute that color gloss throughout. All right, we got it through. Now we wait again. So she'll process for 20 minutes and then we will rinse it out and blow dry. I am just shampooing the gloss, color gloss out. And make sure you scrub the head and get all that color off because you do not want to keep that on their scalp for the rest of the day. I just put a little bit of Moroccan oil through her hair. Actually, yeah, it's Moroccan oil. That's the first thing I grabbed. So I also like the Carologi one a lot too. It's just, I didn't see it in there. I need to clean out my cupboard, but Okay, here is the end result, you guys. It is very natural. I think it's so fun. You can see in here, if I pull this tight, she has these little teeny subtle highlights. So much dimension, and if you really pull the ends up and compare them to the roots, that's when you can really tell how much different it is, but it's so subtle and melty. I love it. It's very pretty. It does just look like she's been playing out in the sun. So that's the end result. I hope you guys like it. I think it looks really pretty on her. We've never done anything like this. We've always done like a really defined highlight with like a dark brown and a violet with her. And so this is the first time we've really tried to like go a natural looking highlight throughout her hair. And I think it's beautiful on her. So give me a thumbs up if you guys agree. And hopefully we can do a side-by-side still. We forgot to take a before picture, but there is some video footage of it. So we'll try to do that. And please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate all of your guys' support. It means so much to me. And we also have this new thing, Periscope. It's great. So follow me on Twitter and then download the app Periscope. And you should already just be following me if you're following me on Twitter. Hold on, I gotta take a breath. Then you can watch me do live appointments and just random crazy things that I'm doing throughout the week with my kids. So please check that out. If you don't have an Apple product, I am so sorry. I don't know if there's another way to watch it, but do know that I'm like, don't feel left out, because I really don't want you guys to feel left out. I'm more just doing Periscope. I'm not replacing my YouTube videos at all. I'm doing them during my YouTube videos, or I'm Periscoping things that I would not have been doing a video for anyway. So I hope that makes it feel a little bit better. If you don't have an Apple device, I'm really sorry. I didn't design the app, so don't kill the messenger. But that's that. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and Periscope. All right, and don't forget, you guys, we are going to be at Vlogger Fair for our vlogging channel, but it's still me. It's the same April. I have two channels. I know a lot of you are confused because on my vlogging channel I look really crappy all the time because I don't do my hair and makeup, but it's still me. It's the same one. A couple people have even asked me to collab with her. It's really just me. So if you want to meet me and my family and Davey, please come to Vlogger Fair and get your tickets now. And I would love to talk hair with you the whole time. I don't mind if you don't watch our hair channel. I can go hair channel, or my vlogging channel. I can do hair channel, vlogging channel, whatever. We can talk about whatever. But check it out. Thanks, you guys. You are the best. We'll see you next time. Bye. That is the difference. That's the titanium on orange. This is the original bleach orange that we had. This is the titanium toner. You can see the difference. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the titanium